Now, in this hour of the program, we are discussing the refurbishment or the refurbishment which is due to take place at Buckingham Palace. And before the break, we were speaking with a Labour MP for Stockton North, Alex Cunningham, who's voiced his opinion with regards to this proposed refurbishment and how the taxpayers shouldn't have to pay all of the bill, and how the royals or the royal family should also contribute to this refurbishment. Now, similar views were also shared by SNP MP Paul Monaghan, who was rather shocked at the government, which said that they were ready to spend such a large sum on Buckingham Palace, while seeking to cut the number of Scotland MPs from 59 to 53, in part to save money. We in fact have with us live MP Paul Monaghan. Hi there, Paul. Welcome to the Drive Time Show.
Thank you very much indeed for the invitation. It's good to be talking with you.
Thank you so much for being with us. It is our pleasure. Now, we read that you were rather shocked at the government, which is ready to spend such a large sum on Buckingham Palace while seeking to cut the number of Scotland MPs from 59 to 53, in part to save money. So, would you like to elaborate on this?
Well, I think many people are disappointed that the UK government has come forward with proposals to spend almost £370 million on a royal palace, particularly at this time of austerity when just yards away from the palace, and in fact yards away from where I'm speaking from just now in Westminster, people are sleeping rough on the streets. Families don't have homes. They're in temporary emergency accommodation. And many, many people are struggling to make ends meet. The expenditure in the palace is estimated to save about £3.4 million a year, as I understand it. So on that basis, the £370 million is going to take almost, well, certainly over 100 years to recoup. It just doesn't seem to me to be viable economically, and it certainly doesn't seem to me to be viable on a social level either.
MP Paul, what are your views on the fact that the number of Scotland MPs, seeking to limit them from 59 to 53, and if you can tell us briefly what was the idea behind that?
Well, the idea behind the reduction in the number of MPs in Scotland is to create 53 constituencies across Scotland, much of which, as I'm sure you know, is a very rural area, so that each constituency has approximately 75,000 constituents living within the boundaries of the constituency. So the proposals to amend the boundaries and to reduce the number of MPs are based not on any kind of careful or considered evaluation of the communities and the people of Scotland. It's based on a very, very crude evaluation of numbers of people. That means that some communities will be split because they're allocated to different constituencies, while other communities that, to be blunt, haven't always really had a great deal in common will be put together within constituencies that really don't make any significant sense. All of that is being done simply to reduce costs. It is a dramatic erosion of democracy in Scotland. There are similar impacts across the rest of the UK, England, Wales and Northern Ireland. So altogether, the proposal is that the number of MPs across the UK will be reduced from 650 to 600. As I say, it's all based on a very crude evaluation of population statistics. And I have to say that there is quite a strong feeling here at Westminster that many of the proposals are designed not simply to improve access to members of Parliament or to sustain democracy, but they're much more about creating a situation where one political party will always have a majority in the House of Commons. And unfortunately, that majority seems to be allocated to the Conservative Party at this point in time. So we're concerned about the costs of it, we're concerned about the political ramifications, and perhaps above all, we're worried about the considerable and significant erosion of democracy across the UK, but in my case, particularly in Scotland.
Okay. Paul, if we can go back to the main issue of refurbishment and Buckingham Palace,
Yeah.
what is the best solution according to you then, in terms of that? Because we know that it needs refurbishment, it needs work to be done because it hasn't been renovated properly for 50 years. So, what is the best possible solution to this in terms of the payments and the refurbishment?
Indeed. Well, my own personal view is that it should not be the people that are paying to upgrade and refurbish royal palaces, particularly at this point in time. Now, I would ask your listeners to differentiate between the Queen and the monarch, because they're not necessarily the same thing. Clearly, the Queen is the monarch at this point in time, but the monarch is an enduring role. Now, the monarch in the UK is worth something like £56 billion.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
£56 billion. That's a huge amount of money, clearly. Some of that is assets that are property assets, jewellery, the list goes on and on. A very, very wealthy individual when they hold the role of monarch. The Queen, as an individual, has a personal wealth of about £500 million. Now, I think that the refurbishment and the maintenance of royal palaces and royal buildings can be funded wealth, not necessarily by the Queen's personal wealth. Now, that seems like an important distinction to me, and one that would make a great deal of sense, I suspect, to most people across the UK.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just at the end there, in general, do you think the Queen needs these renovations right now? And do you think that it was badly timed since, nothing has been done, for 50 years and this is not the right time to actually bring this up in terms of the cost and, you mentioned austerity and then the conditions that we're living in at the moment. Do you think it's bad timing?
Yes, I think it's spectacularly bad timing. I mean, it's fairly typical of the UK government. I mean, they don't really have much insight into the challenges and the hardship and the impoverishment that's facing ordinary people. It does seem to be very high-handed, I would suggest. Badly timed, badly informed, and badly presented as well. There, of course, has been no discussion about this in Parliament. The MPs have not had a chance to debate this or to put forward alternative proposals like the one that I've perhaps just given. So it does seem to me to be very unfortunate, to say the least, and I think the UK government needs to really consider what it's done here, reflect upon that, and come forward with alternative proposals that will, first of all, meet the needs of the Royal Palace, that probably does need to be maintained, but also to recognise the hardship that ordinary people are living with at this point in time. The wider issue, I think, is one of very poor management on the part of the UK government. Why is it that the Royal Palace was not maintained properly each year through a properly organised and delivered maintenance programme, but is left to fall into a state of dilapidation, which is what we're being told, and then all of a sudden requires huge capital expenditure that, quite frankly, the UK government cannot afford at this point in time and is clearly asking the people to pay for.
Right, SNP MP Paul Monaghan, it was a privilege having you on our show today. Thank you so much and have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.